Today on Reuters Breaking Views, German Euro differences strengthen Mario Draghi's hand. Reuters Breaking Views assistant editor Chris Hughes joins me now. Chris, Angela Merkel effectively backing Mario Draghi in the ECB's bond buying. The Bundesbank, as we know, very much against. But there's only one winner here, isn't there?
Well, I mean, the winner would appear to be Draghi, actually, because he is gaining, if you like, from a change in the dynamic around the relationship between the ECB and Germany. Previously, the markets have sort of seen this issue as well. The ECB is far more prone to be a bit looser and accommodating in terms of supporting the likes of Spain and Italy, and yet all it has to do is overcome German opposition to anything that looks like giving these countries a sort of easy ride. But now we're hearing different voices, different German voices, saying different things about what the ECB should be doing. And as you say, Angela Merkel's giving her blessing to the ECB actually buying the sovereign debt of Spain and Italy, in line with the plan that Mario Draghi intimated a few weeks ago, which is going to be hammered out in detail next week. That'll make a huge difference. But you've also got other German ECB members backing the idea as well, albeit in a rather qualified way, but nevertheless backing it. And that leaves the Bundesbank sort of slightly not quite out on a limb, but
it's
clearly,
isolated, isn't it? I mean, the Bundesbank clearly doesn't have the influence that it once had, certainly under Trichet.
I wouldn't like to say that it was isolated. I mean, clearly it's a very powerful force, the Bundesbank, but nevertheless, it doesn't have, its stance that, it's very, very concerned about anything that looks like sort of monetary financing of government deficits. It's taking a very, very tough and rigid line, but it no longer has sort of unanimous sort of implicit support from other, powerful German voices. Now, for Draghi, this is actually a big development, and it means that the timing is significant too. Going into this critical ECB council meeting next week, where they're going to actually finalise, hopefully, the details of what this great bond buying programme will be. Because remember, when it was announced, people got very excited. Then it was sort of quasi-announced by Draghi in a speech in London, and then nothing really happened.
But we got some details yesterday, or we got some flesh on the bones from the ECB's Asmussen, obviously German as well. They'll buy short-dated paper, but only after a country requests aid via the ESM, via the primary markets first. Yeah,
look, it's taking shape, and clearly, actually, it's in no way is this the ECB sort of writing a blank check. What the ECB has actually said, what Draghi has said, is that, look, we can intervene where we think that dislocated markets are getting in the way of us implementing monetary policy, where there is a sort of misperception in the markets about countries leaving the euro, we can intervene. Now, what that doesn't mean, clearly, is just total blank check, the ECB just hoovering up the debt of any country which is suffering from sort of gapping out bond yields. But what it does mean is that it will take steps in in a prescribed and in some sense in a conditional way.
But that very measured approach, or more measured approach, as opposed to, as you say, hoovering up the debt, it could soften the impact, the intended impact of its actions. Yeah.
Well, look, the markets got a little bit overexcited when Draghi first, basically said that he was willing to do something along these lines, and I think they probably overinterpreted just how far he was willing to go. They seem to have sort of calmed down a bit and got used to the idea that it's going to be, qualified intervention. But it will far better that than nothing at all. You know.
Very quickly, just to finish up, in the last couple of minutes we've heard that Mario Draghi is not going to Jackson Hole on Friday. The ECB president normally does because of his heavy workload at home. What can we infer from that, if anything?
Well, I don't. What you're suggesting that somehow he knows something that we don't about the about the zone. Well, clearly, Spain, we all know, has got some very challenging financing needs coming up, and that's going to be a crucial moment in terms of how how any bailout there proceeds. I think broadly it's just a very sensible thing. He's got stuff on. Wise to stay at your desk rather than do a trip, even though Jackson Hole's very important. But I mean, when you have a crisis raging at home, it's best to be at the desk, I think. Okay, Chris, thanks very much. That's all for now. My thanks there to Chris Hughes. For more agenda-setting financial insight, do watch our US Breaking Views show every day at 12:30 Eastern. That's 17:30 BST. I'm Jamie McGeever. This is Reuters.